Let's talk about a subject, a keyword that is kind of scary to a lot of new developers. And that is the this keyword. Now, when I say keyword, I mean it's a reserved word. So we've got reserved words like return, function, var, and now the word this. So generally, you don't want to use any of those keywords as variable names. So the this keyword really just refers to an object which is executing a current bit of JavaScript code. It sort of just means myself, me, talking about itself. So in the example of a function, we have a function, get person, and we could give this a name, and then we could do return name. So pretty simple function, variable Caleb is equal to get person Caleb. And so that's just going to return Caleb is equal to Caleb. And whenever you see this, you're going to see this dot something. Maybe it's a function with parentheses. Maybe it's this dot another variable dot a function, something like that. We'll get into proper naming a little bit down the road. Or maybe it's just this.name. Whenever you see this dot, what this is referring to is your function. Or if you're inside of an object, which we haven't spoken about yet, we haven't formally learned it, it's just going to reference itself. So really what this is saying is this current function dot name. And this is the keyword here. And so a nice thing that we can do here is we can start sort of assigning variables inside of a function. And we can assign a normal variable, so like var name is equal to name, but we already have that in here. Instead, I'm going to show you a cool thing we can do. We can do var this.name is equal to name, and if we change return name to return this, so just return this particular object, we could say Caleb.name and get my name. So let's go ahead, save this, and give this a refresh. And this is already executing as Caleb is equal to get person. So var Caleb, weird, what is that? Type of Caleb. Oh, it's an object, something we haven't formally learned about, but we're starting to transition into. But the nice thing about the this keyword is now I can do Caleb.name. Look at that, there it is. I can do this.profession is equal to teacher and dev. Save, refresh. Caleb.profession. Caleb is a teacher and a developer. Caleb.name. My name is Caleb. And so now we have a variable with variables inside of that variable that are accessible through dot notation. And you're going to see this everywhere in JavaScript. This is incredibly common. This dot notation, basically all we're saying here is, you know, if we were to write this out manually, and if this were allowed in JavaScript, it's not, but if it were allowed in JavaScript, it would be var Caleb.name is equal to Caleb, and var Caleb.profession is equal to teacher and dev. And that's essentially what this is doing here. Now, this is not technically allowable like this, but yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing. So we're saying, hey, you have variable 1, var1, dot an internal var2, so let's do internal var2, and then you can just reference whatever that is going to be. So internal var2. And the nice thing about this is now all of a sudden, instead of writing 2 variables per person, we could be writing 2 variables inside of a function, and then the variable itself could just be 1 line. And so we have to only set it once, and then we can reuse it over and over again. And so the more code you write, the more complex your code becomes, the more efficient it becomes, because you're actually writing less code. Less code is often better. Now, just as a quick summary here, a quick re-reference, whenever you see this dot, it is referring to a function. May or may not have a parameter, it may just be a regular function. It might be referring to an object, which we'll talk about more down the road. But essentially, it is just referencing whatever is inside of its brackets. Inside of this ecosystem here, this just means itself. That's all it is. So whenever you're learning JavaScript or you're learning PHP, so in PHP, I believe it's this is equal to, and then whatever your var name is. If you're learning Python, I believe it's just self.whatever your var name is. This, $, this, and self in different languages all reference the exact same thing. Now at this point in time, you don't need to know how to use this too much. We're going to get into that a little bit more down the road. But as you're learning JavaScript, you are going to see a lot of this, and I just wanted you to be prepared. So like when you see this, you don't go, what is that? I don't understand how this is working. That's totally okay. Because now you understand that this basically is saying, hey, get person.name is equal to whatever the name was, which was like that. And this.profession is basically saying get person.profession, which is a variable inside of the function. So it's just really talking about itself. Now it's sort of a little bit of a mind-bending concept at first. So if you don't get it right away, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. Don't be too hard on yourself. This comes with practice. So there is no homework for this particular lesson. I just wanted to show you this, get you a little bit familiar with it, and sort of ease you into the idea of objects, which we're going to talk about down the road. And I know I keep saying that, but objects are a big part of object-oriented programming, and we sort of need to be prepared for it. So there you go. That is the this keyword. This just means whatever your code is referencing, this particular set of curly brackets. That's all it means. I hope that made sense, and I'll see you in the next lesson.